Life's roads full of ruts, it's very
Welcome
sludgy
to the
and
Portico
grey,
podcast.
and money are worn out liberalising.
This is Rewriting the North, a celebration of place and writing in the north of England.
My name is Jenn, Reid. I sing Lancashire Dialect work song and Victorian Broadside ballads. So we are in Broadfield Park in Rochdale, just above Manchester Road. I can see Touchstones, I can see Hotwood Hall College, and this is home to the Lancashire Dialect Writers Memorial. So I've used a book by Henry Cunliffe, published in 1886, and it is a glossary of Rochdale with Rossendale words and phrases. I have written an A to Z of Lancashire dialect. Beginning with A, we've got a gate, which is begun of or doing, so you'll hear this quite a lot. My mum were a gate going shops. B is for burr, which is a doormat, so a burr at the door. Krill is C, so that's a creeping chill. You gentlemen and tradesmen who ride about at will, look down on these poor people, it's enough to make you krill. Look down on these poor people as you ride up and down. I think that there's a God above. So I'm from Middleton, which is the middle town between Rochdale and Manchester. I spent a lot of my formative years in Manchester, but I find myself returning to Rochdale. I feel some kind of affinity with it, but I can't really put my finger on it. I think am I a bit rough around the edges like Rochdale is? There's a lot to be said for what come out of here, and I feel like it needs honouring. So my interest in Lancashire, I don't know, you'd say Greater Manchester is where I was from, but it used to be in Lancashire, did Rochdale. I just feel a deep affinity to the place. I feel like I need to represent it. I feel like I can use my singing voice to engage people with Lancashire dialect. What I think of when I think of Lancashire is hard-working people working as hard as they can at processes that they probably don't like, but they have learnt to like because it is a means to an end. Such great values and morals, such a funny sense of humour. D is for dree, which is continuous, so that could be rain or a long road or journey. E is for een, E''en, and that's the plural of eyes. So you could say that I've got sparkling green een. And F is for fuzzock, idle woman who maybe doesn't look her best. G is for gollop, so my mum always used to say that I'd be golloping down food too quick. H is for who, which is she. Where's who going? That kind of thing. I is for inkle, as thick as inkle weavers. It's in reference to work people who are closely packed at their employment, and therefore usually they're quite thick or friendly with each other, like thick as thieves. J is for jannock, which is something thoroughly done. K is for keck, which is to fall over backwards. Also in Rochdale dialect there's cruckle, which is to roll over on your ankle. L is for layrock, which is a skylark. Edwin Waugh, in his Tickle Times poem, he says, though we liveth on ground same as layrocks, we'n fly up like layrocks to sing. M is for macker, that's maker. So a beggar macker shop is any gambling or pub establishment where you could potentially lose some money because it'd make you a beggar. In the 1800s, 1700s, Rochdale was like a country place, so rolling hills. There's Waugh's Well, where Edwin Waugh would go and take walks and things like that, and there's all the moorland that people really identified with. And then with the Industrial Revolution, everything went smoggy, people moved away from the area for work and just lived in slums. And I feel like now we've come, not full circle, because obviously Rochdale is still a bit built up, but the greenery's coming back, people feel calmer, more settled here, and I enjoy that Rochdale is having a bit of a renaissance moment. From where I'm standing, I can see leaves turning a lovely shade of orange and yellow. Rolling green grass. I can hear the traffic, but I'm not near it. And it's just the calming natural environment that a city centre park, you can't really get it anywhere else. I just feel like it's a sanctuary a little bit. Now we're just going to walk up to the Dialect Writers Memorial. There's 4 dialect poets commemorated on it. So what we're looking at is like an obelisk type structure. I'm just dying to say phallic, but I won't say phallic because it's immature. There's 5 people commemorated on this because they've added Harvey Kershaw to the bottom, a Monwick common touch, that's nice. And someone's crocheted a nice flower garland, which I think is something to do with care system and NHS. It says, in grateful memory of 4 Rochdale writers of the Lancashire dialect who have preserved for our children in verse and prose that will not die, the strength and tenderness, the gravity and humours of the folk of our day, in the tongue and talk of the people. N? Adding N closes off many plural verbs in the dialect. Ben Briley, who is, I feel like he's overlooked quite a bit, but he's fantastic. If children meeting him anywhere, they scutten away like a lot of chickens when there's a dog about, so scutten instead of like scuttled. O is for oud or oudum, so oud just means old, like in Oldham. Right, so first off we've got Edwin Waugh. Some people say War, but I am a Waffer. So he was probably the poster boy of Rochdale dialect. He moved to New Brighton to take in the sea air because he was getting quite ill and he never returned, but he always wrote about how he missed Rochdale. Probably his most famous poem is Come One to the Children and Me. So the first 4 verses are about the wife complaining about having to put the kids to bed and all this kind of thing, and then she goes and finds her husband and he's in the pub, but the last 2 verses are he's got everything that she needs in the pub, like he's brought loads of gifts and useful practical items, and he's just having a quick nip with his mate before he does come home. P is for a pair of looms, which of course means just one loom. Nothing misleading about that. And then there's pobs and pobbies, which is child's porridge. Q is for quick sticks, an instant or a very short time. R is for Rachda or Rochdale, and that's exactly where I am now, the birthplace of the co-op, the home of the tubular bandage, if you go past that specific bridge. The town hall, which is amazing. Hitler wanted the clock tower from the town hall. And then you've got Edwin Waugh, you've got Harvey Kershaw, you've got all these amazing people that come out of Rochdale. I also found this, I don't know how true this is, it's called Ringing the Pan. So, I'll quote from the book. A ceremony performed by lads to expose young persons who are seen courting on a Friday night. Pans are rung violently, and the names of the unwary couples with their personal peculiarities are sung out in coarse doggerel. Sometimes the consequences are more swift than welcome to the pan ringers. We've got John Trafford Clegg. There's a really good etching of him, picture of him, and he is stunning. It's kind of lucky that he died young because he was all right looking with John Trafford Clegg. He's written a song called Weaver's Song, and he's written loads of different, really specific weaving shed songs that are really fantastic. Right, I can definitely say Margaret Rebecca, but I don't know whether it's Lahi or Lahi. I've heard both. It's nice to have a woman commemorated on here, you know. And the commemoration that she's got underneath is one of her poems. So when we lay down life's shuttle and stand before great judge, he'll want to know what sort of a piece we've woven and how many floats there's in it. He wouldn't care about our sounding names and worldly possessions. He'll ask us how we gate him and what we did with him. The weaving terminology is linked to existential concepts. A piece of cloth is being linked to someone's whole life. This is really like spiritual. Good, isn't it? And then Oliver Ormerod, Edwin Waugh and John Trafford Clegg, because their poems are so easy to make into songs, I do find myself leaning more towards them, and that the humour's really present and you've just got everything. But Oliver Ormerod, he did a bit more of internal things, more kind of inward looking. So we've got a poem of his here. So I said I'm a Rochdale felly, morning wi' me till he faust there I'll warranty. Allus let him on do that's right, and he's starting sure for to come out at best and last of all. So how everyone writes the dialect is different. So he spelt Rochdale, Rachde. So I said I'm a Rochdale fella. You find your own little way within the material, and then you find your comfortable spots, but keep pushing on with these words that are a bit harder, because you might learn a bit more about yourself and your own accent through other work. But I just like to look into their eyes on the reliefs of them, and just think I'm doing this for you, fella, and I hope that I'm doing you justice. S is for scran, which really means mixed bits of refuse food, but you hear it everywhere now, that word, scran. S, I've also put shive, which I think is a perfect word for a slice cut off, as in bread or cheese, like a shive of bread or a shive of cheese. T is for tackler, which is a loom overlooker, and Sam Fitton wrote a poem called Shuttle Kissing. Matilda Curly Toppin were a weaver and a lass, and a tackler was basically trying to crack on with her, and she wasn't really interested. It ends up with her saying, I'd rather kiss shuttles than kiss you. And kissing the shuttle is when the weaver puts her mouth to the shuttle and just sucks the thread through to rethread it. So U is a bit of a swizz, really. It's Uzzar, that's the Rosendale one, or Shuzar is the Rochdale version, and it just means as how the last verse of Shuttle Kissing by Sam Fitton, she says, I'm very much obliged for all the promises, Shuzar. It's a really weird one, that, because you might be listening to this thinking, what's she on about, Shuzar? But it's as how. V is for vast, which means very. W is for whiz, which means to throw with violence, whiz it out at window. Another W is wick, so that means alive and very healthy. Edwin Waff, he says in the poem To Me Owd Fiddle, I sometimes think it's gradely wick, there's singing brids inside on't. He thinks there's singing birds inside his fiddle because it comes out with such beautiful music. And Y is for yezzy, which means easy. It's yezzy work. It's really right easy work. So I lied. I said I'd done an A to Z, but there is no Z. So instead, I'll just have to give you a song and hope that you're happy with that. So this is A Lift on the Way by Edwin Waff. Come, what's the use of fratching, lads? This life's none so long. So if you'd gather round, I'll try me on to song. It may shew a guiding glimmer to some wanderer astray, or haply give some poor out soul a lift on the way, a lift on the way, a lift on the way, or haply give some poor out soul a lift on the way. Life's road's full of ruts, it's very slutchy and dree, and mony a worn-out limper lies him down there today. Then floundering low in th' gutter, he looks round with dismay to see if out in world can give a lift on the way, a lift on the way, a lift on the way, to see if out in world can give a lift on the way. Jog on, me noble comrades, and then so mote it be, that on and on we travel till the day that we mun die. And now to end me ditty, lads, let's heartily pray that Heaven may give us every one a lift on the way, a lift on the way, a lift on the way.
That was a new commission from Jennifer Reid in Broadfield Park, Rochdale. And I'm Joe Fenn, speaking to you from the historic Portico Library in Manchester, home of Northern England's biggest literary award, the Portico Prize, a celebration of place and writing in the north of England. If you enjoyed this episode, hit subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes, and tell your family and friends about it. The Portico Library is a registered charity. You can find out more about our work at www.theportico.org.uk. The Portico podcast is funded by Arts Council England. The producer is Nija Dalal Small. Concept and programming by Sarah Hill, with special thanks to Dr. David Cooper. Join us next time.